name is Brooke Morrison. Welcome everybody to the channel and welcome NIve. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. How's everything?
Everything is good. We were just talking about how hot it is, I guess, all over the world. It's hot in Korea and it's hot in LA. So at least
Right.
we're on the same wavelength there. But he has coffee. I don't. It's like 11 p.m. here. It's 3 something there. So he's in a little bit better space than I am. But I'm really excited to be here and to be talking to you.
Me
This is
too. Thank you for
awesome.
the invitation
Of
to have talk with you.
Of course. And the number one thing, I looked you up, of course. I was doing some research on you. And then I saw that you play the clarinet. And then
Right.
I died because I played the clarinet for 10 years. And it's rare to find somebody who also plays the clarinet, especially
Oh,
as like successful human beings that aren't still playing. You know what I mean? It's like usually people who do that focus on that for the rest of their life. But
right, right,
sometimes
right, right.
you change paths. So what made you, I heard you only did it for 1 year. You majored in clarinet for 1 year. What
Right.
made you change paths from that?
Well, I mean, I majored in classical clarinet and I've been, working on clarinet for I think more than 10 years.
Yeah.
And I went to conservatory school in New York and went there for a year. I love clarinet, but then I felt the need for doing something else, like musically. I wanted to sing, maybe have like a street performance or like do some YouTube or something like that, because I felt like if I continued on the path, I felt like I would be losing the opportunity to work on, different like musically. I felt like I had to like so hone into clarinet all the way for a couple of years. So before hopping on that train, I felt maybe I should take a year off from college. I decided after going to the school for a year,
Mhm.
and I applied for leave of absence for a year. And then during that time, I think my life kind of changed.
Yep,
It kind
a
of
little bit.
lead to, yeah, and little did I know, I spent like few months, and then I realized that I was on TV. And I was like, what am I? I'm in Korea. I'm on TV audition program, and that's how everything started.
Yeah, that's interesting because I felt the same way. I loved music so much, but I felt like just focusing on clarinet kind of pigeonholed you into
Yeah.
doing one thing. And there's just a bigger world of music out there. It's so fascinating. I rarely run into people who also play the clarinet, which leads me to my second question. Playing that for so long and then having learned classically and being classically trained, do you think that has lent to the kind of artist that you are today?
Yes. I mean, it took a huge part of my artistry and my musicality, just because these days when I'm writing songs for myself or the others, I always try to put like classical elements in
Mm,
it. I even played clarinet for like some of the records. Um, if you listen to Tired, or if you listen to Who I Am or Liberated, at some point classical elements happens like during the song, like after bridge, like maybe I would put a line of cello with classical melodies in it. So I always hint things out like in a classical way, especially for my songs. So I think yeah, I mean, playing clarinet and being having the classical background got me like pretty good, like to where I am doing things,
right.
took huge part in it. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think people who come from a background in being classically trained do kind of end up having just a different kind of vibe in their music. And I think it's beautiful. I think it's very intricate as well. But I want to talk about whatever you have coming next, which, I mean, by the time this interview is out, Broken Kaleidoscope will be out. And then the video for Escape is already out as well. So what are you most proud of when it comes to this body of work specifically?
It's the first album. It's the first mini album that I'm gonna be releasing, and I'm proud of actually, myself, just because
Oh, yeah.
this album is very, very, very personal.
Mm.
It's like my own diary, and up until now, I felt that I had to keep things to myself, especially if it's bad or like a negative. Um, and I released a song called Who I Am, and there I say you have to embrace yourself to love yourself. You have to love yourself first to love others, or or do anything like positively. But while I was singing it, I kind of realized that I was never following my messages myself,
Mm, mm,
because apart from like it was only like the song "Tired" that showed how my true feelings were.
yeah.
Um, Other songs, yes, it's a good songs. I love them, but they were kind of like touching the surfaces. It never uh, dive deeper into how my feelings were working out, because I felt that showing that a bit of negativity would affect my fans and audience to kind of start judging on me, and I was kind of afraid of that. But then this album is the first album and first songs that I wrote to really express how I felt. I wasn't in a good place mentally and emotionally when I was working on the album, and I had like kind of mental obstacles in deciding should I really be releasing this album,
Mm,
and I mean here I am releasing it. That's why I'm saying like I'm kind of proud of myself of overcoming that nervousness and anxiety to release uh like really like my heart. I feel like emotionally naked. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, but do you feel a little bit more free in that sense though as well, or are you still kind of worried?
I am feeling very like I am feeling freedom. I feel liberated, but at the same time I'm very worried and anxious.
I get it. Yeah.
Um because it's not released. It's not fully released yet. And by the time it's on air, I think people are gonna be, experiencing
Mhm.
the album. Just because I don't know how the outcome from the fans and the audience would might be, uh, that's what I'm like a little worried about. Like
Right.
I'm thinking, like what people would think of me. But then at the same time, I feel that I'm deciding to release it because I feel like that way, at least I'll love myself a little more. You
Yeah.
know, yeah. So I'm, it's all good. I'm just a little nervous that my emotional like nakedness is going to be exposed.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, vulnerability is always scary, but I think it shows growth and just like who you are as a human being and who you are as an artist. So I think that's a beautiful thing. So I think your
Mhm.
fans are going to love it either way. But I definitely want to talk about your voice because I have listened to your music, obviously. And
Yeah.
it's kind of an experience listening to you sing because you can do so many different things with your voice. Have you always been kind of naturally talented in that way, or was that something that you had to work at?
I always had to work at my on my music ability, but I think what made difference for me was that I just loved doing it.
Mm,
Since I was young, I had kind of like controversial musical life throughout my life. It's
yeah,
like I decided to go to a conservatory school, and then after a year, I decided to kind of like change my path or like take a year off, and that was pretty big decision
right,
too.
of course.
And I went on a audition show, and I was being evaluated and judged by people, and then my voice to I remember it being a bit like controversial in Korea. Like people were saying like some people loved it, some people had like different opinions about it, and well, whatever whichever the case was, I always just wanted to express myself, and um, the thing that I was best at was obviously like writing songs and keeping myself in music industry and music itself. uh, so I was just the only difference was that I was kept doing it. It's like
Yeah.
didn't really like give up, even though I personally don't think that I'm like prodigy, like
Mm,
um, or somebody who's naturally better than who's naturally better, at certain things than normal people. But uh, what made me to become who I am right now is I guess experiences
yeah.
that piled up from me just not stopping and keep doing it. Uh, So yeah, I know that's a long answer, but
No, it makes sense. I mean, usually the people who are most successful in music in general, the people who are never naturally just kind of like, oh my God, I'm perfect at everything, so you're welcome. You have to work at things as time goes on. It makes you stronger, makes you a better person.
yeah, I'm glad that I wasn't like born like perfect.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
same, honestly. But again, coming from somebody who was a band nerd in high school and middle school, like I felt like the best of my life was always still to come because I was, we're usually made fun of or, kind of just not the popular kids or anything. So I always felt like I wanted to keep getting better in life.
Yeah, yeah. I remember now, like I went to school in New Jersey when I was in high school. And I
Okay.
was one of those kids, if you walk on the hallway and there's
Mhm.
like a glass and window, and I would like just like sit there with my guitar,
Mm.
like having not a care in the world, like, and I was supposed to be in a history class.
Okay. All right.
Kind
So
of like kind
class.
of like outsider, but not popular at the same
Yep.
time.
Yep.
So yeah.
We all have those moments. I loved bands, so I was having the time of my life, but I just know I wasn't the most popular kid in school. So, kept me moving forward and wanting to get better. And I feel like that's probably the same for you.
Right. Yeah, yeah, same.
Yeah.
Mm.
So you write for other artists as well. What has
Mhm.
been your favorite experience so far collaborating with other artists?
Oh, well, I mean, like the most memorable moment was when my first song got placed with EXO Chan.
Mm,
That was released in 2019, I believe, April 2nd. And I made my debut as a writer and producer through that song. And most memorable moment was that after it got released, it had a good like result as a
yeah.
song, and it was Chan his very first solo album as well. And after that, a few months later, I got the opportunity to meet up with him and then have thorough talk with him, and it was just fascinating to hear from him about like how he decided to choose the song to be the title because it wasn't supposed to be the title of the album initially, and then he had his
Mm,
personal thoughts in it, and then it was just fascinating to see like how artists' mind were working, leading him to decide in decisions that I never expected and imagined. At that time, I was really like I feel like I still am, but like before, like I was really like nobody because I had no category or
yeah.
like references as a writer. I never placed song with anybody else, and then the first song that got placed was with Chen with the title that did pretty well,
Yeah.
and it just gave me a lot of courage as a writer as well. That I felt like, oh, I can do this too. And hear that from him himself was very, very impactful.
Nice.
Mm.
Yeah, which I mean, if anybody wanted to become a songwriter these days, I feel like that might be a difficult thing to navigate, especially following a pandemic or anything. What advice, like if I wanted to become a songwriter and I
Right.
wanted to get into that world, what advice would you have for me?
Well, I say this not too often, but we always tend to look at what other people are doing or compare ourselves, or like we always tend to get our attention on uh, like outside of our world. So
Mm,
I would recommend to people who are struggling to really dive deeper into yourself and work on like your unseen craft, because at that time, even I know exactly how it feels to just like you are continuing, you are struggling, you are trying to learn, you're studying, but it seems like nothing's working out, or like the opportunity comes and then that opportunity slips away because you feel like because it's not good enough at the same time, and then you feel discouraged and whatnot. But then while that's all a process, and then without the process there will never be results. I've seen a lot of people kind of giving up spiritually and mentally because they see other people who are around like the similar like age as them, like let's say they're on like 29 and 28, 29, and then there's like somebody else who's like doing really well around like 20, at the age of like 26, and then it could be discouraging. But
Right.
I feel like we all have our tempo, and then if we just follow our heart's tempo, and you have your it's like uh, courage to carry through and carry on. I know definitely something will come along your way, and you'll be able to grab it. I mean, it's just expand your universe within yourself. That's what I want to
That
say.
was beautiful. All of that is so beautiful. That was wonderfully worded. Like
I
everything.
hope so.
I'm inspired. What like now I need to do something new because honestly, I'm around the same age, and I mean, we all get caught up in the same kind of situation. You know, you see somebody
Right.
else doing something, you know, I don't know, at 24, 25, and you're like, well, what did I do wrong? Or, you know, what do I need to do next to get to that place?
Right.
You're right. I mean, yeah, just the fact that you said everybody has their own tempo, that is such a nice way to put that, and I love it. So I'm going to use that from now on. Thank you.
Awesome.
And last question. So, what is the number one thing that you need to bring with you when you walk into a studio or when you're writing music? What is one thing that you need?
Iced coffee.
Yes. Yes.
Iced Americano, because it's refreshing. It gets my spirit going, and then it's just fresh. You know, it gets me into that mood to really, okay, let's get through it.
Yes.
It's you can be happy working. You
Mm.
know, it's and I think for me personally, Iced Americano is just like a tingling sign that uh, just hints me out in like, hey,
Yeah.
you got you. The caffeine got you.
Yeah, no, it's time. No, honestly, I do the same thing. I wake up in the morning and I walk to Starbucks, and that's my number one thing. I get a latte and I can start my day, and then I'm happy. And yeah, so I'm on the same page for
Mm,
sure. But thank
yeah.
you so much. That is my last question. Anything else that you want to say about Broken Kaleidoscope or Escape or anything else you have coming?
Yes. So this is going to be my very first album.
Yes.
Even though I'm nervous, I know that things will be okay.
Mm,
And uh, Broken Kaleidoscope. Kaleidoscope itself is complicated.
mm,
The reason that I said I implied like broken to it is that it shows imperfection. Broken Kaleidoscope is imperfect, but in its own way, depending on how you look at it, it can be perfect. So
mm.
what I want to say is that it's okay to be imperfect, because imperfection in its own way can be perfection. I know it's like really twisted, but which means you have to. I really want people to embrace what they think their imperfections. Um,
True.
maybe like their insecurities, their anxieties, and I just wanted to say that it's perfectly okay. I mean, I'm going through it.
Yeah.
I'm sure we all have those, and I hope this album really, uh, you know, just like lift people up.
Yeah.
That's all I want. And I want it to be like commercially do well, but
Be nice.
commercially, do if it does well, like
That, you know, it's
yeah, yeah.
cool.
Yeah. But most importantly, I really wanted to, um, do good. And
Right.
yeah,
Right. And I feel like it will. I'm very excited to see how it does. Broken Kaleidoscope will be out soon. Thank you so much, NIve, for talking to me today. I appreciate it.
no worries. It's my pleasure.
Awesome. Talk to you soon.
All right. Have a great night. Right?
Yes, night. Have a great day. Enjoy your coffee.
What time is it there, LA?
It's 11:28 p.m.
Mm, it's not
Yeah.
too. It's not too.
No, I was yeah, me and Shin were talking about this as well. Sometimes these interviews at like 3 or 4 in the morning.
Mhm.
It's a lot, okay? Like it's it could be like maybe 1 a.m. because you're like still awake, but like 3 or 4, you gotta wake up again. You gotta like take a nap and then you gotta get up again and then you gotta redo
He's
your
right here
I
listening
tried.
to. He said he's trying.
I know that, and I appreciate you. I'll do it either way, you know what I mean? But this is good. This is a good time to do this. I appreciate both of you for making it work. So thank you. I know it's the middle of the day, but I really do
No
appreciate
worries. Thank you for a great time.
it. Of course. All right. Bye, guys.
All right. Bye.
Bye.